This video will give examples about finding roots. First, we're going to solve the equation x squared equals 144. So if we list all the x's that solve this, then we would have x equals 12 and x equals negative 12, because you can plug in both of these numbers, and when you square them, you end up with 144. The second question, x equals the square root of 144, however, only has one answer, and that is x equals 12. This is because when you take the square root of a number, this means to give only one answer, the positive one. Simplify the square root of x to the sixth. We can rewrite x to the sixth as x cubed squared. Now at this point, we might be tempted to say that this equals just x cubed. But let's think about this for a second. What if x cubed was negative? Then x cubed squared would be positive, and the square root of x cubed squared would also be positive. And then x cubed clearly could not equal x to the sixth. Instead, what we have to do is take the absolute value. So the square root equals the absolute value of x cubed. What if instead we want to simplify the cube root of x to the sixth? So you might want to try something similar to our last example. We can rewrite x to the sixth as x squared to the third. And now here you might want to say, oh, well, I can just take the absolute value of x squared, and that'll be the answer. But if we think about this critically, we know that no matter what x is, x squared is always positive. So taking the absolute value of x squared is essentially the same thing as just saying x squared. Simplify the square root of negative 8 times a plus b squared. Before we begin anything, let's just look at what's under the square root. We know that this part here, a plus b squared, is always positive. And this part, the negative 8, is always negative, meaning that the entire thing under the root is always going to be negative. So that means that we're going to be taking the square root of some negative number. We can't take the square root of anything that's negative, so this means that we have no solution. Here we want to find the fourth root of a squared minus b. So we're just going to plug in numbers here. Fourth root of 5 squared minus 9, or the fourth root of 16. And this just equals 2. For our last equation, we want to simplify an algebraic expression. If we look carefully at what's under the root, we see that it's actually a perfect square. So that means then we can rewrite it as the square root of 2m plus 6 squared. And that means that our answer is 2m plus 6. However, we have to be careful when we're taking the square root. Remember that we can't take the square root of a negative number. So this equation only holds if 2m plus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. If 2m plus 6 is less than 0, then there is no solution.